Welcome to this broadcast. I am Gretchen Cook of Parents and Kids Media, and we've been joining folks around town trying to find out what's going on during this unusual spring we're having and touching base with folks to see where their programs are and what services they're making available to families. Today, we've got a great guest. It's Derek Rooker of Soccer Shots. Welcome, Derek. I'm happy you're finally here.
Well, thank
The
you.
audience may not know this, but Derek and I had a broadcast scheduled, and then spring break happened, and then life stopped. So we're going to catch up now. And before we get started, I want to remind our audience, if you've got questions, use the comments section below and just type in your question, and then it'll get relayed, and I can ask Derek, and we can answer your questions while we're having this great meeting. And Derek, right now, tell us a little bit about who you are and your mission and purpose and why you have this amazing enterprise called Soccer Shots.
Well, thank you for having me today. I really do appreciate the invite. So Soccer Shots has been around in the Jackson area since 2011. Before that, I worked in the insurance industry for 13 years. My son had just been born, and one day I decided, you know what, I don't want to sit behind a desk anymore. I've always had a passion to work with children, teach children. And at the time, my brother-in-law owned the Soccer Shots franchise in Birmingham and Tuscaloosa. And he was a graduate of Northwest Rankin High School, and so he knew the area. And he says, I know you're looking for another career path, and why don't you look into this? So one thing led to another, and in the spring of 2011, I was able to get the franchise and bring it to the Jackson metro area. And so we've been, next year will be 10 years, which is hard to believe because it's just kind of flown by. But, like I said, I'm interested in getting kids active, getting them out and teaching them not just soccer skills, but also character development, team play, physical fitness. And so we've been very blessed and very fortunate over the last 9+ years to be able to positively impact a lot of the children in the Jackson metro area.
And Derek, you do that because you're a perennial family favorite. You're voted on each year, and they always nominate you as their favorite sports program, and you win the award. And I had the joy of meeting you at our awards banquet this last winter. Right now, we've got a really cool video that tells a little bit about the ethos and mindset of Soccer Shot. So let's run that, and then we'll get back together and talk some more.
Justin and I met in 1992 at Messiah College playing soccer together, and I think we met Jason 2 years later when he was a freshman at Messiah, so we all played together for a handful of years. When I graduated from college, I went down to Charlotte, North Carolina to play on a semi-professional soccer team. I had a friend on the team that asked if I would want to take over some soccer lessons he was doing at 2 local child care centers, and I said sure.
Jeremy and I became teammates down in Charlotte and saw what he was doing as a camp coach and coaching children in the child care space on the side. And I thought it was a really clever idea. And so when I had the opportunity to move home, I brought the idea up to Harrisburg.
I remember Jason coming to me and saying, hey, there's some business in your area. Would you be interested in becoming a franchise owner? And I said, well, I have a job. And he said, well, that's okay. You can go ahead and do this part-time. As they were adding franchises, I think I took notice that, wow, this thing is growing. At some point, I think I said I would love to join in some way, shape, or form beyond being a franchisee.
So in 2009, came on board as our third partner. Over the next several years, it was really just friends of friends through word of mouth that were buying franchises, and we had a good group that was really excited about what we were doing and really happy to help us figure it out together.
Our vision is to provide a beloved growth experience for every child, a remarkable experience for every family. That's beyond soccer, that's beyond sport. It's beyond a single moment, I think, at Soccer Shots. It really is transferable to the rest of a child's life, and I think for families, that's so important.
There's so many benefits to being involved in activity or sport for young children. With Soccer Shots, they're learning character development, they're learning soccer skills, words of the day. They're also, we hope, having the best 35 minutes of their week.
I'd like to be the one that's really setting the standard for children's enrichment programs and extracurricular events. We know that there's about 30 million children ages 2 to 8 in the United States and Canada, and we've just scratched the surface. And so we're really excited about what the future does hold for us at Soccer Shots.
Thank you for sharing that video with us, Derek. It showed a lot of kids of different ages. So it appears that your programs, you start with kids very young. Let's start there. How young an audience are you reaching with this?
Right. So our program, we have three basic programs. We have what's called a mini program, which starts with our 2-year-olds. We have a classic program, which is our 3 to 4s, 3 to 5-year-olds, and then we have what's called Premier, which is like our kindergarten through 3rd grade program. And all of our programs are curriculum based. And as the child ages, the curriculum gets more advanced so that we can keep them engaged and interested, and that they are learning new skills, through the course of our classes.
Now let's talk about that for a second. Obviously, you're teaching soccer skills and maybe large motor skill development and all of that. But tell me more about the social and academic and other implications that come along with this.
Right. So in our classes, each child has their own soccer ball, but some of the activities that we do require them to work together, learn how to use their language skills to express what they want and express how they're going to accomplish a goal with others in the class. Keeping their minds thinking as far as critical thinking, obviously putting some barriers in their way where they have to think through the problem and come up with a solution. And so, like I said, as they get older, more of that displays itself. As their communication starts to advance as they get older, they're able to express their wants, their desires as to, hey, this is how we need to do this. This is how we come together to achieve this goal.
Now, talk a little bit about the value of team sports.
Team sports are very valuable. I grew up playing soccer, baseball, basketball, and a lot of the life lessons that I learned through team sports has helped me through my professional career and through adulthood. And, whether it's dealing with adversity or working with others or overcoming obstacles or getting to that point where you don't quit. You may fail. And that's the thing is children have to learn how to fail and then get back up and keep going to get that determination, that grit, that perseverance established in them, so that later in life, that the first sign of trouble, they're not quitting. So, we bring all of that into our curriculum, and that's part of what we're trying to teach them.
Okay, now I understand you have programs that go through preschools or day schools, actual schools, and then also open programs.
Correct.
Tell us about this and how a parent can access your services.
Okay, so with the preschools, the elementary schools, we service the Hines, Madison, and Rankin counties, and so if we are offered at a parent's child's school, then they would just go to our website and register for that child's school. Our public programs, we have programs in Madison and Flowood and Jackson, Reservoir area. And again, they would just go to our website. On our website, it'll have, you can filter through public programs or school-based programs. You can even search for a specific location if you know what that location is, and it will bring up all of the classes that are available for whatever season that we are, currently in. Our website is jackson.soccershots.com. That's where they would go to find the information that they may need in terms of times, prices, number of weeks, that sort of thing.
Okay, jackson.soccershots.com. Okay, that makes sense. So another question is, are your classes and programs, is this a rolling enrollment or is there start and stop times for each session?
Right. So we do stop and start times. Now, for many of our preschools and elementary schools, during the course of a school year, a parent can sign up in August or September, and their child will be enrolled for the entire school year. Our enrollment stays open throughout the school year, however. So if a parent misses that registration in August or September, they could come back in November, December, whenever, and enroll. For our public programs, those are defined. Normally, we're doing anywhere from 8 to 10 weeks at a time. So we may do an 8-week fall, a 8-week winter, maybe a 10-week spring, 10-week summer, something like that. But those dates and times are listed on the website, so they know when it starts and when it will stop.
And the good news is we've got sessions beginning June 1st.
That is correct. So we have, we're still in the process in terms of our preschools, trying to determine whether or not we will be able to offer classes this summer. But we do have some public programs starting June 1st, the week of June 1st, at Laurel Park in Jackson in the Belhaven area, at Lakeshore Park, at the Reservoir, Victory Baptist Church in Madison, and then currently Flowood Elementary in Flowood. However, because of construction that's happening at Flowood Elementary, we may have to move the location of that class, and we're talking with the city of Flowood right now in terms of an alternate location to see if we would be able to use that location.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And this gives parents a full week. They've got all next week to take a look at the public programs and figure out which ones work for their kids.
On different days and different times. So we have some morning sessions and then some evening sessions. The Flowood class will be on a Saturday morning, for instance. And then we have Lakeshore, I believe, is on Tuesday morning. Laurel is on Monday, and then Victory is on Thursdays. So, and then we may be adding some more depending on, because of COVID, we're limiting our class sizes, obviously. And in the past, we've been just kind of open enrollment. If we get a lot of children enrolled, then we'll just add more coaches to the class. Well, because of COVID and what we've kind of adjusted our curriculum and we're limiting the number of classes. So if a parent does not see a class that's convenient to them, they can call us and see what might else be available that we may have later in the summer.
Okay, and I think we've introduced the topic, and so we'll talk about the elephant in the room, which is COVID. What do your programs look like in this day and age of social distancing?
Well, so just for a little context, our Soccer Shots is based out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So they've come up with our curriculum and all of our social media and how we're going to go forward, at least for the foreseeable future. And one of the things that all of our coaches will have masks, we'll have sanitizer, we'll be cleaning our equipment frequently. We'll be practicing social distancing in our classes. As I said before, all of the children in our classes have their own soccer ball. And so while we're teaching skills, we'll be able to space them out. And we'll reinforce that with the kids that, hey, let's try to, stay as far apart as we can while we're doing our skills. We've cut out some things in our curriculum. We were doing scrimmages at the end of each class. Those will no longer take place at this point in the summer. And then also just with our coaches, they're going to be taking their temperature before every class. Our coaches are aware that, hey, if they happen to contract COVID or are not feeling well, what is required of them in terms of not attending the class and that sort of thing. And also, if a child was to happen to come down with COVID at any point during the season, not necessarily in our class, but just out and about, what we expect from that family as well. And we've sent out some emails. We've got some more emails to send out for our participants in terms of what our expectations are, not just from our coaches, but also from our families that participate as well.
That makes sense. I'm glad you're opening, and I know a lot of parents are looking forward to getting their kids out there and moving. And I want to talk about that for a minute. Whether or not a parent decides to sign up for a class with Soccer Shots, it still matters that kids get outside and move and use their bodies. Talk about that, the importance of it, and then we're going to segue into how parents can encourage that.
Right. So, one of the things that has always kind of been near and dear to my heart is the topic of childhood obesity. I'm just brutally honest, I was obese as a child, and then decided to get into exercise and to get moving. And, currently in Mississippi, I believe the preschool childhood obesity rate is a little over 14%. The national average is under 13%. There's a lot of factors that go into that are outside of the physical. Your self-esteem issues, depression, anxiety, things of that nature that can carry on for years after maybe someone has gotten, lost weight or exercise or what have you. So getting out, getting moving, getting away from your PS4s and your iPads and TVs and things of that nature, getting outside because, as we were talking earlier, the weather the last few weeks has been outstanding, and getting outside and riding bikes and playing games and, building forts and whatever kids do it's been perfect weather for all of that. So what we want to do at Soccer Shots, whether if you do sign up for our classes, is physical activity, physical fitness is a major component of that. Yes, we want to teach the soccer skills, but we want kids moving. We want them out and about, getting self-esteem up, and confidence up to try new things. And so, over these last few weeks, I've encouraged my friends and my family, hey, get your kids out, get them moving, ride bikes. Hey, let's go for a walk together. Let's go on a scavenger hunt together, whatever it may be. So, physical exercise, physical activity is so important for young children. It's important for all of us, but really to set a precedent and set a standard for our children, they need to start early.
And being physically active and moving, that leads to something I'm going to call self-entertainment, for lack of a better word. When you can run and play and climb trees and dig holes and do scavenger hunts, you develop within yourself the ability to self-generate fun stuff to do. So talk about that, the importance of that, and also the importance of something that maybe kids don't have enough of, which is just free time to play. And by play, I don't mean screens. I mean everything but screens.
And part of the growing experience for a child is being able to use their imagination. And so I know that not all children have friends in the neighborhood. There's not other children in the neighborhood to play with. So a lot of times they have to use their imagination. The stick outside is no longer a stick, it's a wand. Now they're, a magician or whatever it may be. And so that's so important to encourage that for them. So when a child says, hey, I'm bored, I don't have anything to do, the answer is not necessarily going to the TV or the iPad or to the video game. It is, hey, why don't you get out there and create a story or create, some scenario that you can act out. So I think that it's very important that children, if they don't have those peers in their neighborhood or in the surrounding area that they can rely on to provide entertainment and to provide some type of social base for them, that they go out and they use their imagination. They get that exercise. They don't just say, well, I don't have anyone to play with, so I'm just going to sit and veg out pretty much.
And you know what? Any time invested in using your imagination, that's an investment in that child's future, because if what's happening between your ears is vibrant and rich and interesting, that child will have a rich inner life no matter what the circumstances he or she is in. So I'm totally with you on that. That makes so much good sense. Now, if I'm a parent, you and I talked earlier before the broadcast. If I'm a parent, you've got a lot of resources that I could use, even if I'm not a Soccer Shots enrollee, to help just come up with stuff with my kids. Talk to us about those things. They sounded very interesting.
So, as I said, our corporate office is located in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So they provide a lot of content for social media. And so we provide a lot of that on our Instagram and our Facebook page. And so our Facebook page you can find it at Soccer Shots Jackson Metro. Instagram, we're at Soccer Shots Jackson. And so over the last few weeks, we've posted some items as far as go on a scavenger hunt and look for everything that's orange or this color, or starts with the letter C. And so we provide that. We also, when we partner with other organizations, we'll have articles from them. For instance, we were set to do a series with an organization called Healthy Kids Running Series, and it was going to be at the Nature Park in Flowood. And so we had sponsored them, and we were going to do some races there at the nature park on some Sundays, and they had some information about the benefits of running and that sort of thing. So we kind of shared that with on our Facebook page, and so we're always looking for articles, whether it's healthy nutrition or something that relates to our mission of physical fitness and activity that we can share with parents. It doesn't necessarily have to come from quote unquote soccer shots. It's we're looking for materials that we can share with families that they can do at home or do with their family.
And when you mentioned that the headquarters of Soccer Shots is in Pennsylvania, what you're telling us is that you have access to a depth of information and resources that has a pool of nationwide. So that way, it's a really rich, almost a database. And so people can go to your Facebook page and just scroll back through months past and get good information that's been vetted by experts and is now made available free of charge. I'm thinking I'm getting a question from a viewer, and I am. This is a good one. And this question is what I would have been worried about as a child. What if my child is feeling nervous about trying this for the first time?
It is perfectly normal. We have a lot of children that will come out that first week, and that, especially if it's their first time to do any type of organized sport, they are used to a comfortable surrounding. So they get out, they see children they don't know, they see other adults they do not know. So it's very normal. We've had a lot of classes the first week. We'll have a child hugging a parent's leg. They are scared to death to go out there. And so we do everything we can to make it as comfortable for that child. What I would say is if you have a parent or if you have a viewer that is interested in maybe trying out a class to see how their child would react, they can contact us. We can give them that information. And then after that first week, if they feel, hey, this is going to benefit my child, or my child really enjoys this, then they can register at that point. But we would ask that they contact us first, because especially now with limiting our class sizes, we want to make sure that we're not getting a lot of children in one spot, and we're not able to accommodate them. So you can contact our offices or email us, and or send us a message on Facebook, and we'll be happy to reply to you.
Now, I'm going to follow that up with another question that, again, is something that would have been in my mind. Kids have different levels of athletic prowess. I was in the 4 left feet, and I would duck when the softball came at me. I was just a basket case. So you have kids with all different skill and aptitude levels. They're in the same class? How does that work?
Well, our class is technically like an intro to soccer class. And so what our goal is to teach children the basic skills of soccer. That's why every child has a soccer ball. Number one, to keep them engaged. If you take a group of 3-year-olds and you have one soccer ball, and you ask the other, you've got 10 kids and you ask 9 to wait their turn, well, good luck with that, because they're going to get bored. They're going to chase butterflies and, do all kinds of things. So every child has their own soccer ball. And so we work with them, and you're right, they have different levels. But we are going at a pace that is comfortable for each child. We have, in addition, I did not mention this earlier, we also do classes for children with special needs. And so we've worked with New Summit Spectrum Academy. We're doing classes at First Pres Day School with one of their special friends class. We've worked with the Growing Tree in Flowood before as well. And so we can see differences, and we make it as entertaining and as comfortable as we can, and we try to help each child, the person next to them's ability is, what their ability is.
And you just said something that clicked with me. If everybody has a soccer ball, for that child who's a little older, old enough to be self-conscious, if everybody has a soccer ball, when they're doing things, they're looking at their soccer ball. They're not spinning. It's not like one kid's doing the exercise with the other 9 looking on. So that also makes it a lot less intimidating.
So they're focused, and our coaches are giving instructions on, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then even in the games that we play, even if we put the children on separate teams, they are still focused on their job and what they're trying to do, and so there's not really a lot of, hey, you're not doing as well as I am, or a lot of that back and forth, and so we do everything we can to, like I said, make every child feel comfortable, boost their confidence. A lot of times the hardest part of it is getting that child to even try it. And then once they try it and they do it, they want to do it again and again and again and again. So, boosting the confidence so that they will be willing to try a new skill, a new game, whatever it may be,
Oh, that just sounds awesome. And that fear of trying. Oh, that is something that has to be addressed before a child goes out into the world. Because, like you said, they're going to fail. We all fail. And if we don't learn to bounce back, if we don't develop that resiliency, that really limits your life.
When Thomas Edison was making the light bulb, he tried 10,000 times. And so someone asked him and said, well, you failed. And he says, I didn't fail. I just found 10,000 ways that didn't work. And so we have to instill that into them so that they will because like you said, later in life, they're going to have to learn how to fail, get back up and try again.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any shame in failures. It's the staying down and quitting that is where it becomes a problem.
Mm-hmm. Now, talk to me a little bit about the social development of the kids. Do you see friendships forming in these groups when you have these classes?
Definitely. And, a lot with, especially if we're in the preschool, they're with those friends most of the day, every day, Monday through Friday. So there's already friendships formed there, but I've seen it at our public programs as well, where, children will start out and then the parents will talk while the class is going on. And then next thing you've got a new buddy, a new friend. And so it's been really rewarding to see that, because we want what we teach on the soccer field to go far beyond the soccer field and out into society. So we're always encourage them, hey, and we always use the term friends. Hey, if we're teaching how to pass a soccer ball, hey, share it with your friend, And so we want those bonds to be made so that, they can, again, they get that confidence that, hey, this person is my friend.
Well, we're heading into the Memorial Day weekend. So we've got a 3-day weekend, which I hope you get to start yours early because it is a lovely day. What are 3 things you would suggest parents do over this long weekend to get outside and get moving with their kids, just off the top of your head?
Like I said before, scavenger hunt. Create a scavenger hunt. Have your child create this scavenger hunt. Have them write down the items that they want to look for. Go on a bike ride. Like I said, the weather has been beautiful, although I will say the last few days it's started to get a little warmer. So you might want to get out there before it gets too hot, but go on a bike ride or a walk. If you don't all have bikes, go on a walk, a nature walk, and maybe even, pick up or look at different trees or shrubs or plants and maybe talk about that, talk about the colors, the textures, have them touch and feel those things. And then, really, I would say have your child go out and use their imagination. Tell them, say, look, I'll go in the backyard and think of something to do, and then you do it and we'll watch you. I think it's important that while children are playing, we as parents are staying connected to them, as far as seeing what they're doing, asking them open-ended questions like, well, why did you do it this way? So that they can use that thinking to say, well, because they're going to think totally different than an adult's going to think. So they, why are you doing it that way? Well, because, and to them it makes sense. To us, it may not make sense, but using their brain and their thinking to solve those problems.
Mm-hmm. Well, that makes a lot of sense. I want to add one that you didn't bring, but I'm thinking back to my childhood. I loved making mud pies in the yard. And I had old aluminum foil pans and cast offs from the kitchen, chip mugs and things. And my mother gave me some spoons and all. And I could spend hours cooking. And then I remember running them and showing them to my mother and explaining what it was. And I'm sure it took me longer to describe it than it did to make it. You know how kids are.
Right.
And I just remember she'd be reading a book and I'd be doing that. And she got a lot of reading time in, but I still felt very engaged and was just having an incredible time. So simple things can wind up being so much fun.
Right. And I think, one of the, we talked about this earlier before the broadcast. One of the things that COVID has brought, I think, is a simplification of our lives. So, the mad rush to get to here, to get to there, get the kids to this practice or that practice or what have you, everything has just stopped. And we've been able to kind of, as I say, stop and smell the roses and kind of see some of the simple things that can entertain us, that can bring us closer together. And I hope that stays. I really do. Once we get back to whatever normal is going to be, I hope we can keep that and see like the family is going on a walk together or on a bike ride together, and not get back into that mad rush to get to point A or point B or point Z or wherever we need to go as fast as we can.
Derek, I share that hope with you. I've noticed in my neighborhood, I've seen more families out walking and bike riding and doing all sorts of fun things than I've ever seen before. And I didn't know that many kids lived in the neighborhood, but they're not off at practice and they're not booked solid from after school till midnight. So I share that hope with you. I hope that, especially this long weekend, is a great time for families to get together and really remember how much they enjoy each other.
Right.
I think that's what I'm seeing when I see the families walk by. I'm sitting on the porch, so I can hear a good bit of what they're saying. And they are just having a good time enjoying one another.
Yes, and I see that on our street as well. I've got two children. I've got a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old. We've got a lot of friends on this street, and they've been playing and enjoying each other, and we've been keeping them safe. But it's again that social aspect of it and working together, and when they're not. Luckily, we are finished with school, thank God. My time as a math teacher is over for a while. But once they finish their schoolwork, they're going out and they're getting those bonds and getting that physical activity that they need.
Well, I thank you for spending part of your morning with us. And we're going to recap. It's jackson.soccershots.com.
Correct.
Has all sorts of information about the programs. And then recap the Facebook page because that's where there's a bunch of resources for parents.
Sure. It's Soccer Shots Jackson Metro. They can just like our page and send us a message if they want. They can also go to our Instagram, which is at Soccer Shots Jackson. We'll post a lot of the same information on that if they would prefer Instagram. Our office number is 769-233-7445. And so they can call our office. And like I said, we'll be closed on Monday for the holiday, but we'll be back open on Tuesday. So, and then my email is Derek, DEREK, at soccershots.org. And so if you have any questions, like the one that was submitted before, I'm happy to answer those. And so whether you do Soccer Shots or not, we hope that you get your kids out there and get them active.
I totally agree. And audience, thank you for joining us. Derek, thank you for your time this morning. And I hope you have a great long weekend.
All right. Thank you, Gretchen. Thank you for having us.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.